There has been a crazy WWE Money in the Bank announcement. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast review of SmackDown. I am Chopper Pequenell. I'm joined by Andy Datson. Please give this video a like and a subscribe. Help us do all the YouTube algorithm things. Help the channel grow. That would be great. But let's get into talking about this announcement that happened on SmackDown with regard to Money in the Bank. Because we had another couple of qualifying matches on this show. But the big announcement from the show was that they revealed that at Money in the Bank itself, it's already going to be crazy in itself because it's going to be at WWE headquarters. It's going to start on the ground floor. They have to work their way through the building. And then on the roof, there's going to be a ring with ladders and stuff on the roof to then get to the Money in the Bank briefcase above it. Super weird, super crazy. It's going to be a bonkers match in and of itself. And then they announced on this show, to make it even more crazy, both men's and women's matches will be taking place at the same time.
Yes.
Well, I can't envision what this is going to look like. I'm genuinely, I can't tell whether I'm excited, terrified. I think I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be so weird.
I think it's going to be 25 minutes of me going.
Great content for the podcast, by the way.
Oh, I was doing a mortified,
face?
shocked, but amused face.
Visible confusion.
I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I just think it's going to be one of the strangest matches I've seen in a long time, but also probably one of the most entertaining. I wonder if there's going to be some accidental intergender wrestling spots. I don't know. Maybe Rey Mysterio can 619 Carmella through a stapler or something. I don't know. I think it's going to be brilliant. I think there's going to be lots of really innovative spots. I mean, I think the suggestion is they've either already filmed it or they've filmed some of it.
Yeah. They've already filmed it, yeah.
And they would have had a lot of time to do so. So I think there's going to be lots of, stairwell spots, probably a few elevator spots. I really want Corbin, now that he's in the match, to just run to the elevator and press a button and just kind of stand in there with his rubbish little scepter, which is the smallest scepter any king's ever had. I'm really looking forward to it. And as you said before we went on the air, there was a suggestion that Vince was trying to tell people how to fall off a building. So we're slightly concerned as to what that means. But I mean, the fact that they've already filmed it means that no one's died.
Which is good, yeah.
Which is good, but unless they do like an invisible wire spot where someone's attached to something, they push them off, or they push them off, they go, and then there's that movie spot where they look over the edge and it's just hanging there going, somehow managed to grab on like Frodo in the Lord of the Rings. I think it's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to be really, really quite, it's going to be sports entertainment. And I think that I'm going to really enjoy it. I think it's going to be quite a short show, although I imagine this match could be an hour.
Yeah, easily.
At least. The rest of the card will be, I don't know what the rest of the card's going to be, to be honest. I know we've got the two top championship matches, but other than that, I think it's going to be pretty maybe a 3-hour show, which if a third of it is this, brilliant. I'll take that any day. What are your thoughts, Pete? What do you want to see, and what can you imagine seeing?
I don't know what I can imagine seeing, because put it this way, before WrestleMania, I could not envision the Firefly Funhouse match. I could not envision the Boneyard match at all. And they were incredible. They were so good. So I'm really excited, like you as well, I think, for this, because it's either going to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. And either way, I'm really excited for it, because either way, it's going to be really memorable, I think.
I'm hoping there are some like plasterboard walls that Otis could just run through.
Absolutely.
And just go, oh yeah, like the Kool-Aid,
Kool-Aid man.
Yeah.
They've got to do that. That would be so good.
Yeah, I just think there's gonna be so many wacky spots. There's gonna be so many tables that people are gonna go through. I reckon there's gonna be a few actors in there like sitting on their computers and then going, oh, what's going on? Maybe like one of the like executives that we know, maybe Stephanie will be in her office or something, or or trips or something like that, or just be sitting in his office and someone is barging. He's like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a Vince cameo.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Like
I'd
them
really
going
like
into
it.
a board meeting or something.
Yeah, I'd really like it if they do. If they have to embrace the wackiness of this. I think the worst thing they can do is play it serious and just have it be like, oh, they're just trying to fight for the top and it's just throwing into walls and walking upstairs and throwing into walls and walking upstairs. That's boring. What I'd really want is them to completely embrace the wacky side of it. And you have like Baron Corbin goes in the elevator, thinks he's all cocky, presses like the top floor and just waits. And then like Daniel Bryan scurries in before the door's shut and just presses all the other buttons and then like runs out again kind of thing. And it's like just little stupid spots like that. You just need to have like that jam-packed with just wacky, stupid stuff.
Or like, Corbin's in the elevator and then someone presses the fire alarm and therefore the elevator stops and he's just
yeah. And he's just no.
But
let's
although you would,
like
you
Darth
have
Vader, no.
You have to suspend belief a bit because I mean, this would suggest that they're all working on a Sunday evening, which is probably not going to be happening. So, I mean. I know wrestling's real, but you've got to maybe try and a bit of make believe here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, either way, I think we both said it. It's going to be incredibly memorable, one way or the other, and I think it's going to be awesome. I am genuinely really excited for it. And on top of that as well, in the rest of the show, I think they did a really good job of building the rest of the matches as it is. So as a show, overall, I'm still really looking forward to it. Speaking of, we should probably get into reviewing the rest of the show, which started off with Daniel Bryan coming out and cutting a really cool promo, I thought, about his history with Money in the Bank and how it kind of kickstarted his rise to the main event in WWE, which is kind of true, honestly, after because he was a US champion against the Miz, really, and that was about it. But then after his Money in the Bank, when he became World Heavyweight Champion, that's when he started, the Yes movement really got over and stuff like that. So thought it was a really good promo. He calls out Baron Corbin for beating up Drew Gulak last week. Corbin comes out and says, "I'm a king, I'm gonna win, you're bad," etc. Classic Corbin stuff. I was really happy to see he didn't come out with Nakamura and Cesaro. I was like, oh my god, Midcard Vortex is dead. Thank God. Didn't last for long.
No, I was going to say you can't have been happy for very long in that case.
No, but at the time, I was very happy.
Yes.
Then they had a match. I thought it was pretty good. It was fine.
It was fine.
There was nothing particularly wrong with it, but it wasn't great. It was good, solid wrestling.
Yeah. The only issue with these sort of matches for me on a weekly basis is that it is the same spots every week. So as soon as I saw Bryan throwing Corbin towards the corner, I was like, okay, well, I know he's going to go underneath and come back out. I know that. I know that's easy to say because we can we've watched wrestling and therefore we know what the different spots the wrestlers do. But when you do have the same people wrestling every week against similar opponents, you can predict how the match is going to go. And we saw that later as well with like the Sheamus match and to a lesser extent the Mandy Rose match where you kind of knew Sonya Deville was going to come in, but that's fine. This match wasn't really for Daniel Bryan and Baron Corbin. It was to get some heel heat again, because Corbin sort of on the back foot just decides, I've had enough of this, hits Bryan with a ladder, and then goes to hit a end of days on the ladder. Bryan counters into a yes lock, and then it's one of the commentators. It goes, "Oh, it's a yes lock on the ladder." It's like that doesn't make any difference whatsoever if the yes lock's
not even a little bit. Makes their chest a little bit more uncomfortable because they're lying on something that's not flat, might hurt them a lot there. But yeah, I'd like it if that was the case. If Baron Corbin was just like, "Oh, I can't win this. Let me throw a ladder." But no, he threw the ladder, got disqualified, and was like, "What? DQ? Why? Why am I disqualified? What?" Use the ladder.
I also noticed that slight inconsistency there. Like, what? Now I'm not allowed to use weapons in a singles match? Since when, ref?
Yeah. It's not Dynamite, mate.
And then during the yes lock, out come Nakamura and Cesaro, and then as much as I respect Sami Zayn for not wanting to wrestle in the current climate, please come back, Sami. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. As like it's like they've gone, well, they need someone to lead them. They need a heel to lead them. Now that Sammy's gone.
Why do they need a heel to lead them?
No, it's because Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro aren't talented enough, apparently. Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time, and Cesaro, easily in the top 5, probably most talented people in WWE. But no, they need Baron Corbin. They're too foreign. They need
Baron Corbin, yeah. I don't know why they couldn't just be a tag team. They're really fleshing out the tag team division right now anyway. It would be a really, really strong division if they add Nakamura and Cesaro to it. Just have them be a tag team. Please don't align them with Baron Corbin. I know it's too late. They're already aligned with him, but just stop it. It's bad. I hate seeing Baron Corbin with 2 other bloody cronies. I am sick of it. Midcard Vortex is alive and well. They throw Daniel Bryan into some ladders and leave him laying, and that's how the segment ends, which I thought was solid.
Is it bad that I almost want to see Corbin win the briefcase and then screw it up again?
Oh, that would be bad.
Because he royally screwed it up last time.
Hey, badum tush. I don't think I want Corbin to win.
No, I don't want him to win, but if he wins, I hope he loses it.
Yes, if he wins, I hope he loses it, but I don't want him to win. I don't know who I want to win, honestly, because I'm tempted to say someone like Aleister Black, but like him with the briefcase would be horrible. Yeah. It would make no sense.
I don't know. It wouldn't look right because his whole thing is he just comes out and kicks people in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the winner is going to be whoever wins the last, the last chance.
Oh, the entry spot. Match. So Jinder Mahal. Yeah, cool. After that, we get a Braun Strowman promo. Comes out and gets interrupted very quickly by a Firefly Funhouse from Bray. And Bray tells a little story of the Black Sheep. Basically just saying the same things we've heard about him and Strowman in the past, saying how we took him in and then he left and all the other Wyatt family members left and now he's by himself and now he's going to make him pay, etc. He's going to take the Universal title off him. Strowman interrupts and just says, I'm sick of these puppets in the Firefly Funhouse. If you want to say something, come out here and say it to my face. And Wyatt just goes, see ya, and then just says bye and doesn't come out.
Well, yeah, so Braun sort of came out to start with a bit of an Elsa going, the past is in the past. From Let It Go, Pete.
Yeah, no, I know.
He said, he basically says the past is in the past and it happened. I don't really care about it. Yeah. I'm not gonna, mate. I don't do impressions. It was good. It was fine. It's better when Bray does the majority of the talking.
Agreed. I also like it if it was something different. I feel like this is the same content we've been given, and we've been given the content in slightly different ways. So we've been like, Braun has opened a package. Yeah, Braun has opened a package. It's a mask. We've had a video package overtly showing all the cuts from it. We've had Bray talking about it, but it is all the same stuff. It's him saying, Braun, you're in the Wyatt family, and now you're not.
Yes,
and that's the story. I feel like if they used that as a starting point and then built from it, it would have been better. But I think at the minute they're just saying, well, Braun was in the Wyatt family, so that's the story, I guess, and that's it.
Yeah, I would like a few more video packages because they're really good at those. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not super excited for the match right now. I think it's a good choice to have him feud with Braun. I do like the fact the feud's happening. I just wish it was built a little bit more on top of their history rather than just being their history is the story.
Yes.
But yeah.
And
still, it should be a fine match.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And speaking of not being excited, it was Sheamus next.
You never guess what he did, Datsun?
What did he do?
Have a guess what Sheamus did on this episode.
Have a 25-minute match in which he really struggled against a top opponent, and then he cut a promo about how much he really liked Jeff Hardy.
Funnily enough, on opposite day, you'd be correct. Because he had another squash match that lasted, 10 seconds. He just brutally beat up the lad, whatever his name is, Leon Ruff.
Leon Ruff, because Leon Rush was released last week.
Leon Rush, eh?
Sorry, Leo Rush.
Thank you.
I mean, you can't blame me for that. I mean, it's basically the same person.
Yeah. But he did some very good selling.
Very good selling. I loved his selling of the Brogue Kick. He kind of just... He's only managed to do a ragdoll, but also a flip.
It was so weird.
So and you said apparently he's in Evolve or something like that. So he's clearly knows his stuff.
Yeah, he really reminded me. His selling initially when he got hit with the first backbreaker and he was like screaming out in pain.
Yeah.
Reminded me of OJMO,
yeah.
especially on that frontline show we went to when he was
Absolutely.
in a lot of pain. That's a reference that literally none of the viewers would get unless you went to that frontline show.
Michael Oku.
Michael Oku, aka OJMO, is fantastic. But yes, Sheamus squashed him and he went over to the commentary table afterwards. They were like, "Oh, you're going to play another Hardy documentary?" And they were like, "Yes, how did you know?" And then he's like, "Cool, I'll watch it." Okay. So then they played part 4 of the Hardy documentary. It's still great video packages. It's cool. It's an effective build for Hardy's return. They say he's going to be live on SmackDown next week. And then Sheamus goes, "So he's going to be on SmackDown next week?" It's like, "Yes, that was just announced, Sheamus. Well done." And then he leans into my corner and goes, "Cool, I'll be there too." Like,
oh, you'll be there as well. So yeah, it's going to be Jeff Hardy cuts a promo. Sheamus comes out and kicks him. That is my prediction.
Yeah, probably.
Or Hardy
and then it'll build to and then it's going to build to a a match at Money in the Bank, which Hardy's going to win, and Sheamus' return will be for nothing. Is what it is. Otis and Mandy were backstage next. Otis is amazing. Literally,
they're so cute together.
All Otis has to do is just go, "Oh yeah," and I'm laughing. I'm laughing instantly. Like,
did you hear that
funny.
it was Mandy's pitch? So when they started this story, she was like, she went to Vince and was like, "I think this would be a really good story," and she was right, obviously.
Totally.
So I really like. I just really like looking at them together. It's like she looks genuinely smitten with
it's
Otis.
Good, isn't it? Yeah, it's really, really cute. It's great. They seem very genuine, very organic, and and it's just like that. I think it was Kayla Braxton, wasn't it, that was asking questions, and she went up and she asked like one question, held out the mic, and Otis goes, "Oh yeah," and then it goes back to Kayla. She asked another question, holds out, and he goes, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Oh my god, Otis, you're the best." He's just the funniest, and he doesn't even have to do much. And it basically say they're both going to win their Money in the Bank qualifiers and go on and win both Money in the Bank briefcases, which I would have wanted to have seen.
Yes, but Mandy clearly has never watched wrestling because she goes, "I'm not focusing on Sonya tonight. I'm focusing on Carmella." Because unfortunately, Mandy, people can interfere in matches. It happens a lot. But the match was straight up afterwards. You kind of knew at some point Sonya was going to interfere, just didn't know when. Turns out it was after about 3 minutes of basic training wrestling.
I thought it was pretty good. There was some decent athleticism from both of them. There's some nice, intuitive counters and roll-ups and stuff. It was cool. Then Sonya Deville came out on the stage and just started. I thought she made some very cool points, actually. She was saying, this time last year at Money in the Bank, I gave you my spot in the Money in the Bank match. I climbed the ladder and then practically handed you the briefcase, and you still lost.
I forgot that happened.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
What I did like was that Mandy didn't immediately see Sonya and go, "Oh well, I'm gonna get confused here," and she kind of kept trying to wrestle for a bit, saying, "Stop it! I really need to focus on this. Please stop. I've got something on right now, but if you can come out later, we can have a chat."
Is that what she sounds like?
Yeah, and so she so she tries sort of block it out for a bit, but then she gets too annoyed, stands up, Carmella hits the super kick. 1, 2, 3, Carmella's in the match, which is probably the right result for this storyline, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And Sonya made some really good points, as she has been. I've really enjoyed Sonya the last couple of weeks. It's nice to see her have more than her character is now not just, it's the brunette friend of blonde Mandy Rose. She's now actually a wrestler, and she comes down after the match and a really cool beat down, throws Mandy into the steps, and hits. Is this a new move? Or
it's like a reverse Shining Wizard.
It's a bit like the last shot.
Yeah, kind of like the last shot, but it was really cool because Mandy was kneeling in front of the steps, and then she hits kind of this last shot reverse Shining Wizard thing to the back of Mandy's head, and it launches her into the steps again, which I was like, oh, that actually looked kind of brutal. That was really cool.
On the slow-mo, it looked like her knee really connected with the back of Mandy's head, who did look groggy. But thankfully, Jamie Noble was there to run out and make the save.
Yeah, exactly.
I always like seeing cameos from him. I'm like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Jamie Noble. Yeah. No, it's really, really cool beatdown. I thought Sonya was great here. Just kind of the intensity, like she was being pulled back by referees at the end of this beatdown, and she's like screaming out, "It's like I'm going to make your life miserable," like stuff like that. She's got this really like great fiery intensity to her, and it's really, really cool to see. I hope she like carries that on, and I think she can become like proper one of the best women's wrestlers on SmackDown for sure. Before long, if she carries this on, because she is fantastic. But yeah, I thought it was great, good result and everything. It was fantastic. Mandy's backstage getting checked out afterwards. She's got a big old bruise on her leg. I
think it looked like where the handle for the steps are. I think that's what the kind of round bruise was. And I mean, either she bruises like a peach, or she just really copped one there.
Peach, like what Otis calls her. My peach.
That was my joke.
That's why, you see.
I made that joke.
I don't know if you did. Yep. Anyway, she's getting checked out by Doctor. Otis comes in and asks if she's okay. She said, "Yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it." He leaves, and Dolph comes up and just approaches her and just goes, "Is Mandy okay?" And Otis just goes, "Yeah." And then Dolph walks off. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Just keeping that plate spinning. It was fine.
Exactly. But next up was New Day versus Forgotten Sons, and Miz Morrison on commentary.
Yeah, this was a non-title match after Forgotten Sons stood tall after the brawl last week. But Miz and Morrison on commentary. Normally, I'm a big fan of Miz and Morrison when they do anything promo related, any sort of commentary, talking on the mic, anything to do with that. I think they're really good. But they were really distracting on commentary this week. It didn't help that the camera kept cutting to them like every 10 seconds and just kept showing them on commentary. It's like, yes, I know they're there. Yeah. And they kept just talking about random things, talking about themselves over the match, not really focusing on what was happening. It was really distracting for this week, which is a shame because I do normally really like Miz and Morrison. But
completely agreed. They were just talking too much.
You talk too much.
I get that they're there to be annoying, but it was kind of like I am also trying to watch a match, and I don't. And if I hadn't been making notes, I don't think I could tell you what happened in the match, apart from the fact that the Forgotten Sons won, because it was just no, Miz and Morrison, hey, and it's just sort of okay. Stop for a second, because there is actually something else happening right now,
and especially when it's a team in the ring that you're really trying to get over, that's new on the roster, that you need to be kind of putting over all the time, and they're just kind of ignoring them in a way. And there was a couple of times, I think Miz has done it on commentary before. He's really good at putting over people in the ring and focusing on the action while still being kind of arrogant and putting himself over. But on this occasion, when he's with Morrison, I think they just kind of focus on themselves a bit too much, which is a shame because, like you said, Forgotten Sons got the win clean as well, pretty clean anyway. Jackson Riker got involved and threw Big E into a ring post, but then they beat up Kofi some more and then hit their finish and won. And honestly, I'm really liking Forgotten Sons on the main roster. I think that they're doing really, really well. They work well with the teams. I think they're presented a little bit better on the main roster. I think they're good. They are good, and they're another solid team to add into the SmackDown Tag Team division.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got no issue with this at all. I mean, I know people might be saying, "Oh, you've just beaten your champions kind of clean straight away," but there was only really a couple of ways this match could go after you'd booked it, which was that either the Forgotten Sons lose immediately, or it might have just been better if Miz and Morrison had got involved somehow.
Maybe. I feel like that would have been cheap if it had been like a DQ finish or Miz Morrison got involved, especially when the other match in the night of Corbin and Bryan ended in a DQ. I think it was better for Forgotten Sons to just win.
Yeah, it kind of gets Jackson Riker over as this kind of like lurker at ringside who will change the match whenever he wants, basically, because he's just the big guy who stands at ringside.
I thought this was pretty solid. Again, don't really have too many issues with it. I liked it. Speaking of surprisingly liking stuff, Tamina's backstage getting interviewed, and she says, that she's gonna win against Bayley. I can't remember the exact word she says, but pretty much that she's gonna beat Bayley. Sasha Banks comes in and does like a fake babyface promo, being like her history with Team Bad, and she was like, "Oh, we're past all the cheap shots and all that stuff. We don't need any of that anymore." But then, of course, Bayley tries to run in for a cheap shot. Tamina, in a really cool spot, I thought, turns around and immediately grabs Bayley by the throat, like almost like, Spider-Sense seeing her coming, and just grabs her by the throat, which I thought was a really cool spot. But then they just all get into a brawl. Sasha and Bayley start beating it down. Lacey Evans comes in from out of nowhere and just starts getting into a brawl. They all get pulled apart by referees. I thought it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was just how much there was. There was just a lot of there was very little. That's very nitpicky. It was just like, okay, stop it. But yeah, no, it's cool to actually see Tamina having a personality, as you said. Did you mention that there's the tag match next week?
I haven't.
No, so it's going to be Tamina and Lacey Evans against Bayley and Sasha next week. My prediction will be that Bayley somehow costs Sasha the match again. Or maybe she scarpers from Tamina leaving Sasha on the ring on her own, and then Sasha takes the loss or something like that. Just to keep that plate spinning. And I'm sure it'll be a fine match, and it'll be the go home show for Money in the Bank. Interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was pretty good overall. Sonya and Dolph are backstage. I really liked this promo. Dolph Ziggler cuts a really kind of emotional promo. And the way it's shot as well, it's like Dolph and Sonya are just having a conversation that the camera happens to catch, rather than an interviewer going up and being like, my guest at this time, Dolph Ziggler. It was just them kind of meeting backstage and them just talking to each other. And Dolph was saying, like, look, I'm going to beat Otis. I'm going to enter Money in the Bank. I'm going to win Money in the Bank. I'm going to cash in, and I'm going to become champion again. And he kept saying, like, again, after each of these points, like reaffirming, I've done this all before. And it was saying, and Sonya, after you're done with Mandy, I'll slide in next to her and make her feel better. And I was like, ew, gross, for starters. Preying on emotional women. Nice job, Dolph. It was... I thought, it was a really effective emotional promo, and Sonya, I think, really played while she didn't talk much, she kind of had this air about of being like, yes, we are sneaky heels. We've all got this whole plan going. Which again, it's just another little, not another tick in the box of Sonya being really cool. I'm really digging it right now.
And it was in a dark room, and therefore they're evil. So
totally, yeah.
But this all led into the main event, which was Otis versus Dolph, which it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm kind of thinking is, where's Tucker? Are they just trying to kind of maybe he doesn't want to be wrestling at the moment, or maybe they just don't see him as a necessary cog in this. Maybe like they're going, okay, well, if we don't need him there, let's keep him at home because of what's happening.
It's possible. They might also just be, maybe it's, two birds, one stone. Maybe they're still selling that zigzag on the steps as like a, the injury thing.
That really hurt.
It's possible. It looked pretty brutal at the time. Okay. So yeah, I think it's probably, I don't think that would be their first course of action, but because of scenarios, I think they're probably using that to say, oh yeah, we'll put this over as like a legit injury and he can come back later down the line maybe. I agree with you. I thought this match was fine. It didn't have the emotional stakes of the WrestleMania match, but I thought it was a fine, serviceable match. The only nitpick I have with this, I think the correct person won. I don't think he won with the right move. Because
we were saying
Otis won. Otis won with the Caterpillar, which shouldn't really be a finisher ever.
No, it is a joke. The whole point is that it's a bit of a joke move. Like it's a gimmick move. Like the thing is, he's fat, but he can still do a dance move. In the end, it's a standing elbow drop, and Otis is not a tall man, so it's not like it's got any height on it either. He's got other moves, like he could do some kind of like half a trash compactor, so he could do like the world's strongest slam. I'm sure he's easily talented enough to think up something, but the whole thing is that he's a bit silly, he's funny, and therefore his finisher is a bit weird. It's not a finisher. It's not a finishing move. This move shouldn't be finishing matches, and especially it shouldn't be finishing Dolph Ziggler, who's got like 3 finishes that he uses on separate occasions.
Yeah, and one of which Otis kicked out of, being the zigzag.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, the right person won, but like you said, that he needs a better finisher. That is, it's a good move to maybe set up a finisher. Maybe Dolph could sell it and go like, oh, and then he could hit some kind of other finisher. But yeah, and he very rarely hits it properly as well. This one looked like he kind of just fell on top of Dolph, in which case the actual thing that finished Dolph off was the vibrations in the mat from the caterpillar. But yeah, it was the right result. It was nice. It was cool to see them main event SmackDown, I guess. I know they've got a limited amount of people, and it was nice to see the show not end with 5-5 Fan House and then Broughton in the ring going, and then Michael Cole going, oh, well, Money in the Bank next weekend. So yeah, it was different.
It was nice to have it end on a match, and it was just like, this person won, that's the end of the show, which is very different to normal, which is nice.
Yes.
But he really needs a new finisher. I'd say the same for the People's Elbow. I say the same for the Worm. It's just their
atomic leg drop.
Yeah, even that, like, just stop. They're not finishers. Anyway, that was the main event. Overall, I thought this show was pretty good. I thought it was a good, solid building show for Money in the Bank. Really liked a lot of the building elements of these feuds and stuff. I thought that a lot of the matches themselves were pretty good. I thought Sonya Deville absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think she's a star waiting to happen. I'd give the show 4 out of 5.
Yeah, high 3, low 4 out of 5. It was a perfectly good show, and it's made me more excited. Just that one announcement has just made me more excited for Money in the Bank, because I think it's going to be weird, but great.
Yes, it is. I think that is... Oh, no, before we get out of here, we now need to say thank you to some very special people, and those are our $25 and above pledge hammers on Patreon. If you head over to WrestleTalk's Patreon page, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, you can get a whole butt ton of more extra wrestling content. You get, podcasts of wrestling shows, retro pay-per-view reviews, and WrestleTalk Extra. You get WrestleTalk After Dark, which is where Ollie, Luke, and Laurie get a bit boozy and start talking about anything. Plus, if you pledge at the $25 and above tier, you get your a customized wrestling name, and you get it read out on a show much like this. So thank you to The Castle Run, DX Solo. Woo! Yes.
$100 Man, CD Horva.
Way! Thank you very much. The Rocket, Dan Van Sky. Lovely stuff. Thank you.
No one names their kid this anymore. Larry.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Luke's favorite fan, the one, the only, the awesome Bubba.
Oh, woo! Yes, Bubba. Yes. Kratos' forgotten son, Chris Petru.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Don't have a Shane Cowley, man.
Oh, woo! I won't.
Lovely.
Ryan Be Bad.
Woo! Thank you very much. The Beast, Brock Taylor. Woo!
Stay down, Derek Graves. Probably a reference that I don't understand.
Corey Graves. He has the stay down tattoos on his thing. That was his thing in NXT. The British Bulldog, Philip Boy J. Smith Jr.
I get that one.
Yeah.
And finally, it's Angry Arbel Zafir.
Yeah.
Well, you've sent me Zafir, mate.
Yeah, I didn't end the final R. The final I even. Arbel Zafiri. Woo! Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our pledge hammers on Patreon, and thank you for watching. That is all the time we've got for today. Please press the videos that just appeared on the screen to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things, and the button in the middle that will make you become a pledge hammer on Patreon. I've been Chubba P. Cornell. That has been Randy Andy Datson, and that was SmackDown.